Alright, so I am back, and today we're going to be doing another Rant of the Week. And this time it's going to be the top 10 Takara figures I'd like to see. Now this one was actually really hard to put together. You know, upgrades, it was like, you know, what are we missing, what are we needing? Third-party figures, again, what are we missing, what are we needing? And then the Hasbro figures, it's like, you know, what... the thing about that was I was trying to make sure that it was in the scope of reality of what Hasbro could do. So, this week, it'll be Takara figures. Now, like I said, this was really hard because there are so many holes in the Masterpiece line. I mean, okay, just go back and look at Masterpiece. Okay, now take all the third-party Masterpiece figures out of that, and you look at just what is Masterpiece from MP10 to on. So that's not including the Rodimus, even though Rodimus and Grimlock are kind of in the right scale. Just they're not really supposed to be there. So MP10 and on, and you compare that to what is G1. You know, all the characters from G1, and we're talking just massive holes. I mean, not even close. So it's like, what would you really want to see from Takara, Masterpiece scale wise? So that's why it was really hard for me to sit down and really think about it, because it's like, yeah, you could say everything from Jazz to you know, Megatron and, you know, on and on and on. So then I started thinking, like, okay, what about third-party figures that would be truly Masterpiece style figures? You know, things like Make Toys Hound. You know, I love the DX9 stuff, but, you know, those wouldn't really quite fit into a true Masterpiece collection. If you're going for the official Masterpieces look. So Make Toys, MMC, the Ocular Max, MMC, Fans Toys, that's going to be more of what you're wanting to look at. The other ones are more like, DX9 is more like a large chug, and stuff like that. So anyway, so I came up with a list, and the first one, I will say, this is the honorable mention, I always do this, is Beast Wars figures. I mean, you guys know me. I love my Beast Wars. I want to see all the Beast Wars figures out from all the seasons, including Beast Machines. I want to see, and it's just because they have such a smaller cast. It's a goal that's a little bit more feasible than G1, especially since Takara's based in, you know, overseas, where the G1 continued after the 3 or 4 episodes of season 4. So it's like they have a bigger lore, so they have more characters to pull from. So they have a huge character pool of figures that need to be made. And, you know, but then when you look at Beast Wars, the actual cartoon of Beast Wars, yeah, Japan had more Beast Wars. But if you look at the official, or the main Beast Wars show, the 3 seasons, they didn't have that many characters, and then most of them just got revamped throughout the seasons rather than having new characters show up, which was cool. So yeah, I would love to see Beast Wars. I mean, if I was really going to break it down on the top 10 Masterpiece figures I'd want to see, it would probably be just a Beast Wars list. So that's why I'm putting this as an honorable mention, because I don't want you guys to just know that it's going to be a Beast Wars list. That being said, the first one on my actual list is Dinobot. We talked about this briefly in the viewer responses, but in Masterpiece, Dinobot would be ideal. I know he's a Beast Wars character, but I think he's more than that at this point. He's more of an iconic character. To a lot of fans. You know, the people that like Beast Wars, they love Dinobot. They like him better than any other character in the show. He was, I think, or more liked. I mean, I liked Rampage better. But at the same time, I would spend upwards of $200 on a Dinobot figure, and then I'd probably spend it again for what I was thinking, which would be the like I was saying yesterday, have the first one come as just Dinobot, and have it be able to flip the signal, the symbols from Maximal to Predacon. I think that would be pretty cool. Then do a retool of him to the battle damaged one with the War Axe or Warhammer. That would be pretty cool. And then you could retool him into... you could repaint him as the Beast Wars Grimlock. Then you could retool him into the Beast Wars 2 Hardhead, I believe it was. Something like that. And then you could do a heavy retool into... was it Dirge Gun? Something along those. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. But it would be cool. I mean, you could reuse that mold more than just the one time. You know, Primal, it's gonna be, you know, we're gonna see probably like the jungle, or, you know, all the Japanese different burning convoy, clear convoy, and all that stuff. You know, we're gonna see a bunch of those, but there's not too many other repaint potentials. Maybe if they really want to be grasping at straws, the Universe repaint, which was kind of like a purplish brown color, which was weird. Yeah, I know some people were saying, oh, they could retool into Transmetal, but if you really think about it, they can't. So if they do the Dinobot right, they could retool it a few times, recolor it a few times, and get some pretty good use out of the mold. I know Cheetor, for example, you know, it's like they're doing Cheetor. We've already seen the prototypes of it. So they could do Cheetor and then Tigertron and then Shadow Panther, which, you know, got retconned into Ravage. So it's like, you know, it's like that's one thing I always want to. I'm trying to think of when it comes to Takara. So yeah. All right. Number 2, a triple changer, because somebody was saying in the video yesterday, I think, somewhere, maybe it was on SU. Now I can't remember. That, you know, Takara's the benchmark. Yeah, I think it was on one of the viewer responses yesterday. They were talking about combiners. But Takara's the benchmark. You know, we got some third-party triple changers coming out. I would like to see Takara's take on it, because, you know, when they're at their engineering best, like MP10, Sideswipe, Prowl, stuff like that, I mean, they will knock this thing so far out of the park. So I would love to see an official third-party triple changer. I think there was a rumor that there was going to be a Blitzwing or something like that, but we haven't really seen much more of that. So that would be pretty cool. I would like to see it, especially since they can knock those robot modes just out of the park. Like the DX9 Astro Train. It's like close but not quite. You know, stuff like that. So it'd be kind of cool to see Takara's take on it. And then the same kind of principle with number 3, which is combiners. More I thought about it, the more I like the idea. Do I think they'll ever do it? Probably not. And if they do, I don't think they should start with Devastator. Even though Devastator was the first one, I really think Devastator is a hard combiner to pull off properly. It's just a hard one to do. Because it's 6 bots and you gotta have them fit together. I think they should do one of the Scramble City ones. And you know, if they do it right, and that's the key here, if they do it right, like if they did, say, Minosaur, then they could retool some of the cars into each other, one, and also into other cars like Streetwise. It's. I know we're going into Combiner Wars type situations, but at the end of the day, while all of the original G1 combiners were all unique molds from each other, they shared the same engineering. Just flat out same engineering. So if they could like reshell it and give it a new head, then I'm fine. That's fine. It's like, as long as they don't start making like, okay, well, we made drag strip, so that's Mirage now. It's like, no, it's not. That's still drag strip. So it's like, if they do something like that, that could probably be pretty cool, and a good way for them to save money. And the Scramble City combiners, you like I said, you could get a lot of uses from the same molds, and make them, and just kind of reshell them, like the aerial bots for one. You could make one or two molds for the limbs and just reshell them for each other. And it'd be cool if they also did make it like, okay, so this is not, any limb. This is the left arm of Superion. That's the only thing this one turns into. Then it's going to be like, it'll be the best arm ever. It won't be like, oh, well, you can flip it around and make it a leg or whatever. But I don't know. But yeah, I would like to see a MP combiner. Or an idea I had years ago that I thought would be the best way to pull off a combiner, when we're talking about having the combiner this scale, but have the individual bots in an appropriate scale, would be to release it like, okay, here is Blast Off. Okay, you get the Blast Off figure. It's an MP Blast Off figure. Turns from turns from the space shuttle into bot. And it comes with a Build-A-Figure piece of the right arm of Bruticus. The whole right arm, not where he clicks on, just the whole arm. And because it doesn't have to be engineered like amazingly, it doesn't have to be like, all these things have to transform. It's just a static arm. Hell, it could be pretty hollow too, to make it a little bit more lightweight, to get poses off a little bit better, because it doesn't need to be really heavy. But like, that way you're taking into account the mass shifting as well. Soundwave came with the MP Megatron in gun mode. It's like, well, that's taking into account size shifting. That we had the blaster that came with tracks. We need a Soundwave still. That's the only way you're going to get the mass shifting in. Is if you make something on the side. So I thought it would be cool if they did a combiner that way. Or somebody did it that way. That way, it's like you could have massive combiner, and then once you click all the pieces together, they don't come out. And because it's a little bit lightweight, yeah, it might bring the cost of the individual figures up a little bit, but because it's lightweight, and those figures don't have to rely on being part of a combiner, those figures will be the best representations of each of the characters. And then the combiner, because it doesn't fall apart when you move it, because, even this guy, as great as he is, you can still tell where the different bots are. And when you move it wrong, things start falling apart. So if they did it right, then you wouldn't have to worry about it. Like, imagine if this was just one solid piece, this shoulder here. The treads, everything, it's just one piece. It's not multiple different pieces, with panels and stuff like that. It's just one piece of plastic. And I think that might actually play out pretty well for somebody. All right, number 4, Hoist and Trailbreaker. I mean, what the hell? It's like everybody's got 1 to 8 different representations of a character in MP scale currently. Every time somebody's like, oh yeah, we've got Blitzwing coming out. Oh, we've got Blitzwing too. Oh, and we've got Blitzwing too. It's like... and yet nobody's taking a crack at Trailbreaker. And it's like, there's Trailbreaker and Hoist, at least. And it's just like, there's a retool, repaint, you double profits. I don't get it. All right, number 5. This is actually a number of them, but a number of figures. But I just want to do it. I want to see this. I would love to see this. I wanted to see the rest of the primes. I know from what I hear from people that post comments is Starsaber is a prime. Is that right? So it's like we got G1 Prime, then we got Starsaber, and then we got Optimus Primal coming. So it'd be cool to see like the G2 Prime, MP G2 Prime. Again, you got repaint potential there because you can go straight to Scourge from RID. Speaking of RID, the RID Prime would be awesome to see. And then you could also do the RID Unicron or Ultra Magnus, and then you can do the combiner aspect there. Armada, I would love to have an MP Armada Prime. That would be so cool. And animated Prime, I think that'd be cool. Now with animated, and the next one would have been movie Prime. What they could really do is take the leader class versions of the figures that were actually released. Maybe throw a little die cast in them and do an out of the world paint job on them, and I think that would be really good. I think those would just look really, really good because a lot of those leader class, especially for the movie, were an MP level of engineering. I mean, look at leader class Starscream from Revenge of the Fallen. That thing was amazing. Brawl from the first movie. So it's like if you take that Prime, the leader class Prime, probably the Revenge of the Fallen one, and retool it, maybe get some better plastics in there, and just do a phenomenal paint job. Chrome where the chrome should be. Just knock that thing out of the park. You could put that in a masterpiece box and people would buy it. I think they did that with the Starscream actually, but I think they should do that some more. And just get that paint job, focus on that. You got the mold done, so you're not. It's not costing you any money to use the mold again, really. So now let's focus on the paint. Make sure that is just MP level paint, and yeah, that'd be pretty cool looking. All right, next one. And then also the Prime Optimus. Now there was no real leader class Prime from Prime. They said there was, and the weaponizer thing that had the big cannons. Oh, that thing was just stupid looking. All right, but yeah, I would like them to see the rest of the Prime. Do the rest of the Primes. Number 6, Cyberjets. I know, I'm obsessed. I mean, I would love to see new Cyberjets in Chug. I would love to see new Cyberjets in MP too. And it'd be cool because you could make them smaller than the Seeker scale. Okay. Here's my thought, because I actually have a thought on this. More, not just like I want to see this. Here's how you could do it and make it work. You make them smaller than MP Seekers because they're Cyberjets. They were supposed to be smaller in robot mode than the actual Seekers. So you make them smaller, maybe a little bit bigger than a MP car. I think maybe track size. I know that sounds weird because it's a jet and he's a car, but that's actually where they should be, about track size, around that size range. You only have to do in between 3 to 5 molds, and you'll get at least 5 repaints out of each mold. The main 3 from all right, I'm gonna try it off the top of my head. So there's Hooligan, Skyjack, and Space Case. All 3 of them got repainted into the Autobot versions. So there's 6 repaints right there. They were all used in Beast Wars. No, they weren't. Robot Masters. So there's 9. Hooligan got a BotCon release, so there's 10. They all got a Universe release as well, so there's 13. I'm thinking. I think that's it. Yeah, 13. Yeah. So there's 13 repaints from the main 3, from the original 3. So that's getting you a lot of bang for your buck. You don't have to go crazy with the engineering. Make it look masterpiece style. But it doesn't have to be like amazing feat of engineering like MP10, and it doesn't need die cast. And what it would be a great way to have troop builders for the cons and bots, because some of them were Autobots too. So just do a ton of them, and then you could do the 2 that showed up in Machine Wars, because those each got repainted twice. Yeah. Yeah. So those got replayed twice for the Machine Wars. Then 6 for the Beast Wars. RID had them 2 more times. 6, 7, 8. Robot Masters had them. So there's 10. RID had them. And the Wing Stun or Skywarp for Machine Wars. Skywarp was used as the Waspinator. So yeah, I mean, there's a ton more if you make the other 2. So it's like you could troop build a lot of little jets, which would be cool because spending $200 on a Seeker isn't troop building. That hurts the budget every time you buy it. And one of the things I think Masterpiece is missing is little characters, like the Cyberjets, for example. And I don't think they should. They should repaint them like the G2 colors for the bots, but put Decepticon logos on it, and I'll get to why in a second in my next one. But that way we have troops. Like I said, they don't have to be amazing engineering. Good engineering. And just do a really good job on the paint, focus on that, and just crank them out. And that will fund more Masterpiece, and then they can really just take their time and getting the really good ones out, here and there, rather than feeling rushed on some of the other ones. Number 7, the G2 Spy Changers. Now these were the little cars. Now there was a bunch of bots, Autobots, and there was Decepticons. Actually, I think there were not Spy Changers there. They didn't call them Spy Changers until RAD. They were GoBots. And not GoBots. They were Autobot GoBots. But there was Decepticon GoBots too. I'd like to see them do those. Make them about MP Bumblebee scale. Again, doesn't need the most amazing engineering. But it'd be cool because, again, there's troop builders for Autobots. They could just crank out a whole shit ton of them and just be like, okay, here you go. Here's your place filler while you're waiting for the next like MP Cliff Jumper or something to come out. You know, you can buy a bunch of these guys, you know, and make them affordable. You know, like make the Cyberjets in the $60 range. Make these guys in about the $45 range. And then I know you'll sell them because a lot of people like troop building. A lot of people, you know, there are some people that are fans of the G2 Cyberjets. But it's a good way to make money because, again, I know a lot of people that'd be like, you know what? There is no Masterpiece figure coming out right now, but there are those Cyberjets. I can catch up on those Cyberjets. You know, I'm gonna catch up on some Cyberjets, and just buy a bunch of them. You know, because like I said, they're gonna be cheaper than the $200 MP Seeker. So, anyway, those are my thoughts. Number 8, Blaster. Okay, so I know we've got the KFC Blaster. And that's precisely why we need a new MP Blaster. Because we have the KFC Blaster. That's it. Those are your options for an MP Blaster. Now, the Titans Return Blaster looks about the same scale as an appropriate blaster, so that might work for you if you're looking for that. But the big problem is that the only other option is the KFC Blaster. They really need to put out a true MP Blaster. I'm not the biggest Blaster fan, but I'm a huge fan of the cassettes. And there's the big problem with the KFC Blaster was while the KFC Blaster isn't terrible, it's not amazing, it's not terrible. The cassettes are, though. Those cassettes are so bad. So very, very bad. I know. Just know. Those are... Oh, man. Just looking back. Yeah, I was actually watching my review of, like, the ram horn from before. Because I was debating on whether or not I should pick them up again. And I just was like... No, I'm not doing that. No. But yeah, again, so you get Blaster, you'll get Twin Cast, is he? Is that the repaint of him? So you get the Blaster, Twin Cast, and then you'll get and then you can do all the cassettes for him too. In the 2 packs like Soundwave, and that'd be cool. I would love to see a whole bunch of them. The only thing, though, do not give Twin Cast an exclusive cassette. Don't give them some sort of cassette that's like important to Blaster to force people to buy him like you did Sound Blaster. That was bad. I didn't like that at all. Nope, not at all. All right. Moving on, number 9, Megatron. And I'm going to do this... originally, I just put down Megatron, like the G1 Megatron. Because, yeah, we need a new G1 Megatron. I know gun laws are making things difficult. And it's hard to really come up with a way around it that would be very satisfying for a lot of people. Because, I mean, what can you do? The gun laws. It's a law. You can't just sneak around it by putting a barrel, the orange barrel in it. Some companies have, but Takara's they're more like in the line of sight. Third party companies, like if X Transpot's got in trouble for the Apollyon, they'd close up shop and rename themselves. Takara can't do that. They'd rather. I could see it from a business point of view. It's like, okay, let's talk about like a hotel industry. If I worked at a mom and pop hotel, and say there's some rule or regulation that you could get in trouble with, by bending or something like that. And I was working at a mom and pop motel, wasn't a chain hotel, then yeah, I've probably been that rule a little bit, let something slip by me. But at the, I work at a chain hotel. That's where they actually stare at you. People are looking at you. So it's like, if I mess up there, not the great example, but there's that huge lawsuit against a Hilton, I think it was, because they gave out somebody's room. That's a safety issue. I wouldn't do that no matter where I worked, but again, maybe if I worked at a mom and pop, maybe I didn't have that training. But anyway, the point is like, there's a couple workarounds I've thought of to make a true MP Megatron. One of which is making a tank. I know that's not the most ideal look, because he's not a gun, and in G1 he wasn't a tank. So it's like, while like the Combiner Wars looks good, he doesn't look great because he doesn't look like the G1 Megatron. The other option would be to make a really good Megatron action figure that doesn't transform, superposable, and maybe he can come with the Megatron gun that can fit in other people's hands, because you can't mass shift him. Is that a satisfying end? No. Is it a decent compromise? Maybe. But yeah, it's with the gun laws that makes it hard to sit. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants a true MP Megatron. I would like an MP Megatron. I don't even collect MP at the moment. I'm sure I will in a few months anyway. But the point is, I would love to have an MP Megatron that's not a Polyon. I hear Make Toys is going to make one, or at least that's the rumor. But yeah, I think Action Master style Megatron that looks really, really just like perfect to the screen. And he came with like a little gun. That's probably going to be the best that we're going to get. Yeah, that's what we could do. But I would also like to see the same thing, like I was saying with the Prime, to go throughout the series. I'd like to see the Beast Wars Megatron. I would love to see, not so much the RID Megatron. The mold's fun, but I don't know if that's masterpiece worthy. Definitely Armada Megatron. I just start with Armada because the Unicron trilogy, it's like Armada had the best looking figures, but had the worst, like, actual figures. Like, they looked good, like, on paper and in the show, but the actual toys suck. Energon, that's when the toys started getting better. Were they great? No, but they were better. And Cybertron, they were better. Still, poor quality control, but you get what I mean. But then, anyway, animated Megatron would be cool. Again, leader class one could probably be, reused, repainted, just made it to look really nice. Especially if they could throw some diecast in there. The Prime Megatron, oh man, that would be so sick. Just imagine that. MP Prime Megatron. Like, MP10 can come up to about here on him, and he could just be that big, massive, intimidating figure. That would be awesome. The movie Prime, again, or the movie Megatron, probably the Revenge of the Fallen one would be the best one. Yeah, because the first one was just no. Second one was no too, but it's hard to really say sometimes. But yeah, that would be cool to see like a bunch of Megatrons come out, and the best part about doing something like this is that you'll see how fast they sell out, see how many units you move, and from there you're going to be able to sit there and be like, okay, Armada's not quite ready for more MP figures yet. And then, oh, wow, Transformer Prime, they still have a good following. That Prime, that Megatron, they sold out like that. Maybe we should make a few more and just kind of keep going and see what happens with it. It's a good way to test the waters by throwing out the Prime Megatron, because the collectors, there'll be those collectors that buy all Primes, and there's collectors that buy all Megatrons. But then there's the collectors like me who have been sitting here waiting for the MP Optimus Primal, and so I'm going to buy that right away. And then I'm going to buy the Cheetor right away. So it's like, if they're waiting for those guys, they're going to be like, oh, hey, there's a market. Let's follow the market. Because maybe there is a little bit fatigue going on with the MPs, because everybody's making the same fucking character over and over again, and then it's like, okay, here's the 9th repaints of Trax, and it's like, was he ever this color ever? I don't think so. Anyway, you get my point. And then number 10, last and not least. Well, actually, it is the least. Like I said, I had a really hard time with this one. But this one would be a good way for them to determine if there's a market for it and whether or not to invest more in. Somebody said this yesterday, or part of this yesterday, but the Human Alliance figures from the movies. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the toys from the movie lines. The couple of Human Alliances I had were pretty decent, but they also fit in an MP scale. That they're pretty damn close to an MP car kind of size. So if retooled, ideally to take the seat off, like where a random piece they throw the seat on. But if done right, they would be really good. I remember I had the barricade, and that thing was just amazing. And it got the high end paints. I think they just did that with Soundwave and Barricade, where they reissued them. But it'd be cool to see them do more stuff like that, because if there is a big enough market for it, they can make the rest of the cars that were in the shows or in the movies in Human Alliance scale, and make money off of it, maybe as an exclusive Masterpiece figures. But to start, the thing would be to try and reissue these guys in a Masterpiece style paint job. I wouldn't throw any die-cast into those, but at least the MP style paint job. So, all right. So, what are your guys' thoughts? What are your guys' list for Takara figures you'd like to see? I know mine was not. Like I said at the beginning, it's hard to say, because it's like, it's like so many people are making so many things, and so many people are making the same things. It was kind of hard for me to sit there and just be like, oh yeah, we need this and this and this. If there was a third party, if I wasn't thinking third party, then it's like, wow, okay, rest of season 1, how about some Dinobots and stuff like that. So it's like I was thinking more along the lines of things that are missing, or things that could be useful, like the Cyberjets for troop building, because when you really stop and you look back at the season 1 Decepticons versus season 1 Autobots, major discrepancy in troops. Autobots outnumber the Decepticons like 2 or 3 to 1, and it gets worse in season 2. So it's like, troop builders would be great, and if I don't want to spend $200 on a Rainmaker, a single Rainmaker, I don't want to do that. Especially since that mold has been played to death. I think that needs to get retired like the Secret one, or the Classics one did. Just make your... Thrust is next. They need to make Dirge and just retire it. That's what I think. Alright, anyway, what are your guys' thoughts? What's your list?